Welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 18th of July. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. As ever, I'm going to give you the overall strands to look out for. Please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in forensic detail. Now, as this week begins, Venus, the planet of relating, but also of loot, moves into the sign of Cancer on Monday. This is wonderful if we want to think about how we can improve our immediate physical environment. So some people are likely to be picking up the paintbrushes and making some changes perhaps to furnishings over the next few weeks. If you're in the northern hemisphere, even the outdoor space could be an area that you try to beautify. But also at the start of this week, Mercury is face to face with the strident and powerful energies of Pluto. Pluto's in the part of the overall zodiac which is to do with the more physical world, whereas Mercury is just leaving its recent home in the more emotional Cancer. So there could be some kind of intense discussion at the start of this week, but then on Tuesday, as Mercury makes its way into Leo, this is a more outgoing, friendly and affectionate sign, and an opportunity to think more about how we can connect and socialise. With Venus in the fourth house now, gatherings in our home environment could prove popular. But the big change this week is the Sun's move into Leo on Friday. And that's because the Sun governs the sign of Leo. But before it says goodbye, it also goes face to face with Pluto. So this clash between what we need in terms of our protection and security, the more nurturing side of life, with that harsher physical reality, it's something that is going to be very manifestly obvious to us all. But I think once the Sun gets into Leo, it's kind of saying, how can we find the inner resources in order to deal with balancing these different elements of our lives? I think it's a lot to do with a general instability that's going on in the world. And part of that is because Uranus, the planet of restlessness, is aligning with the North Node in Taurus. And basically we're getting the kind of consequences for our actions over many years, but because Uranus is the planet of truth and the sign of Taurus is very much about resources, some of that is to do with the cost of living crisis. And the conjunction between the North Node and Uranus will peak next week, and I will tell you about that then. Of course, we've also got Mars in the sign of Taurus too, which technically is not its best location, and that can make people a little bit more sort of resentful and outspoken around financial issues. So we are seeing more activism as people push back against any very difficult conditions that they're living in. So there could be a big flavour of that this week, but I think Mercury and the Sun moving into Leo is really saying to us, what can we do to be more creative, more passionate? How can we bring our personality power to bear in order to improve our situations? Now, I've crashed through the 100,000 mark in terms of subs. I'm keen to get to 101 as quickly as possible. If you'd be so good to click or tap on the bell notification symbol, I'd be most grateful. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. If you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast, please give me 3 pieces of personal birth data in time, date and place of birth, and I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life, along with a 12-month personal forecast. All of this is completely unique to you based on your birth data, and there's 30% off with my special package. Please see the link beneath this video. So Cancer, your week commencing the 18th of July forecast begins with Venus, the planet of love and affection, and of course loot, arriving in your sign. But Venus is also the planet of aesthetics, so very much the ruler of fashion. So coming into your own sign, it could give you some kind of prompt to review your personal appearance. Now, if you're a dedicated follower of fashion, this may be something you do fairly regularly. But if you're someone who's a bit more settled in your approach, you may surprise yourself by some novel changes that you make in the weeks to come. But Venus moving through the 12th house, as it has been, is a very profound transit, and coming into your own sign can help you to come into the present. So if you have been feeling quite nostalgic or thinking very deeply about the value of certain associations in your world, now you can draw a line in the sand. And if you are single, this is a very attracting transit that you're going to enjoy over the next 28 days. But of course, Mercury and the Sun have been in your sign for some while, and they've been encouraging you to embrace your individuality, your creativity and flair, helping you to get some new projects off the ground, or perhaps rejuvenate some that have been ongoing. Now, because they're moving into your second solar house, you can see how far some of these new strands have come. You can start to see tangible progress. However, just before they switch, Mercury, to begin with, goes face to face with the very powerful and potent energies of Pluto. It's possible that your approach to a situation recently has been arousing some opposition, but it may not necessarily have showed itself in an obvious way. If there is any opposition, it's likely to come up this week. And you have one of those situations where you may need to decide, do you stand for what you're trying to do because you really believe in it? Or are you going to really pivot towards those opinions you may receive and try to understand why those are being expressed? And if you do that, I think Venus moving into your own sign can be very beneficial to you. What I would say is that when the Sun is opposite Pluto in a natal chart, it can make people very dogmatic. Mercury too, when it's opposite Pluto. So you could encounter someone this week who is much more to the point. And because Pluto can be quite secretive, something could be revealed that does surprise you. But once the Sun has moved into Leo, we must remember the Sun governs the sign of Leo, so it loves being there. And this gives you an opportunity over the next few weeks to really think about your financial situation, but also about your self-worth. The second house is very much about self-worth, but also those foundations. And I think forging up a firmer set of foundations is going to be quite a big theme for you over this next 3 or 4 weeks.